Happy land, thy fame resounds from shore to shore. Happy land, where 'tis a crime, they tell us to be poor. If you shelter cannot find.
Hiya. Hello, everyone. Hello. Hi. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Now, tonight's show, I should explain, tonight's show is about the Serious Organised Crime and Police Act. It's the bit of the law that David Blunkett brought in to get Brian Hoare, the peace campaigner. You know Brian Hoare, the peace campaigner, the guy who's been out in Parliament Square. He's been out there for 6 years now. And David Blunkett introduced this law, and it says, as soon as this law comes into being and is given the royal assent, anyone wishing to demonstrate in Parliament Square and its environs needs to get prior permission from the police, in effect a licence to demonstrate. The law comes in, Brian Hoare's lawyers go straight to the court and they say, excuse me, Your Honour, this law doesn't apply to our client because, you see, the law says once it's been given the royal assent and it's been passed, anyone wanting to demonstrate needs to get permission. However, our client has been demonstrating prior to the introduction of the law, which cannot be applied retrospectively. Therefore, it doesn't apply to him. And some batty old judge went, no, you're absolutely right, it doesn't. So the very man they bought the law in to get, it doesn't work for. Now, that means the rest of us, if we want to demonstrate in Parliament Square and its environs, we've got to get permission from the police. So, what counts as a demonstration? According to the police, one person with a banner is a demonstration. One person with a badge, a CND badge, a trade union badge, a Tory party badge, should ever any be in existence. We know we don't have badges, we brand each other. But the thing is, that would count. Obviously, you have to be stationary with your badge. If you're moving with your badge, that's a procession, and legally you'd need another form. But one person with a badge counts. Now, what happened was this. A woman is walking past Downing Street, and she's got a T-shirt on. And on her T-shirt, she's got some designs from some of the placards that Brian Hoare had outside Parliament Square. The police stop her. Right, you, stop. Don't go anywhere, love. You, that is an unlawful demonstration. I went, no, it's a T-shirt. No. Unlawful demonstration. She goes, I'm not demonstrating. Yes, you are. She said, I'm not. I'm advertising the Mark Wallinger Tate Britain art exhibition. And the cops go, sorry to disturb you, please carry on. And at this point, you have to conclude that things are getting fairly weird. It then gets weirder. My mate Sean is having a picnic on Parliament Square. And the police come up to her and go, you got to move. Move right now. She goes, no, it's a picnic. No, unlawful demonstration. She went, no, for the love of God, doily, cucumber sandwich. Picnic. The cops go, cake, and point at her cake. It's a Victoria sponge with one word iced upon it, and that word is peace. And the police deem her cake to be a political cake. And she therefore needs permission from the police 6 days prior to breaking the Tupperware seal to exposing said cake to the public arena. And I thought, any law that means we can be arrested for a cake, we can play with. We can play with, because this is what happened. This is what I've been doing for the past year. I thought, rather than kind of like charge at this problem, what happens if we play with it? What happens if I start to apply for demonstrations? So I put my first application in. The police send me a letter back. Metropolitan Police, headed notepaper. Dear Mr. Thomas, I, Superintendent Terry, do hereby authorise your demonstration, calling for the abolition for the need to get permission to have a demonstration. And I thought, game on. So what happened was, I start to go down to Charing Cross Police Station where they've got a special events unit and hand my forms in. And there's a cop there, a guy called PC Paul McAnally, who works out of special events at Charing Cross. Nice guy from Dundee, working out of London now. And I've got to know him quite well over the past year. Wouldn't say we were mates, but we might play football Christmas Day. So what happens is, I go down there with my second forms. Right, Mr. Thomas. You want a demonstration to defend surrealism. Yeah, I do. I can have a demonstration about anything I like. You can indeed. I just didn't know surrealism was under threat. I said, no, it is. He said, how so? I said, well, because we have a government of paradox. We have a government that seeks peace through war, that seeks to protect our civil liberties by eroding them. This is a paradox. This is absurdism. Absurdism is the enemy of surrealism. Ergo, surrealism is under attack. He said, I wish I'd never asked. 3-4 days later, I'm at the Hay-on-Wye Literary Festival, which is why you know I'm telling you the truth, because I've just admitted to being at the Hay-on-Wye Literary Festival. Right? My mobile phone rings. Mark, it's PC Paul McAnally. Just phoning to let you know we're giving you permission to go ahead with your defence of surrealism demonstration. I said, that's fantastic. Are there any conditions imposed upon the demonstration? Because the police can put conditions on. They can limit the number of people you have on your demonstration. They can limit the number of banners you have on your demonstration. They can limit how big your banners are. So they could say, 2 of you, 1 of them 2 inches. What do we want? Bigger banners? I said, are there any conditions imposed upon the demonstration? No, they're not, Mark. Were you expecting any? No. I was just asking. He said, remember this, Mr. Thomas. The police on the day can impose conditions. You should remember, they can impose conditions if, during your defence of surrealism, you do anything silly. We had a fantastic day. It was brilliant because we wrote to the Penrose family, who are the relatives of the original founders of the British Surrealist art movement. And we said, would you like to come and defend surrealism? And they said, no. But we will send some objects to represent ourselves. So standing in Parliament Square with an onion and a pair of socks, we had loads of surrealist banners with surrealist slogan. What do we when what? We had one banner that was just dripping blood that said, not yet meaning much. And my favourite banner didn't have any slogan at all. It was just wallpaper. And we just stood there going, ah! At the traffic. And normally the taxi drivers who go around Parliament Square, they give Brian Hoare a little, beep, beep, nice one, mate, keep on at them. They see us going, ah! With the wallpaper. They're like, do it all, have upset someone. Finished the demonstration. The next day, I phone up PC Paul McAnally. Ah, Mr. Thomas, how did it go? I said, it was great. He said, how many people did you get along to your defence of surrealism demonstration? I said, it depends on whose methods of counting you use. If we use the police methods, there were 4 people. If we use the Socialist Worker Party, 1 million comrades took to the streets. In reality, there was about 40 of us. He said, as long as the 4 of you enjoyed yourself. He said, now what can I do for you? I said, I want to apply for an emergency demonstration. He said, emergency? Now, what happens is you're supposed to give 6 days prior notice. But if it's not reasonably practicable, you can go up to 24 hours. I said, I want an emergency. You are aware that we have to consider the nature of the demonstration and the situation in which it's taking place. I said, yes. He said, right, what do you want to demonstrate about? I said, I want to smash surrealism. He said, what? I said, I want to smash surrealism. He said, you were defending it yesterday. I said, I've changed my mind. He said, I can see that. What I want to know is why you've changed your mind. I said, the realisation that the juxtaposition of seeming opposites is nothing but glib marketing. I wish I'd never asked. We have an hour argument and he gives me permission to stand in a square holding a bit of cardboard and smash surrealism. And I kind of like this game. You see, the thing about it is the actual area that this affects is a lot bigger than people think. because people think it's just Parliament Square. It's not. If you look at my map, you can see, if you go to the north-east, right up here by Charing Cross, on the north side of the Thames, cross over Hungerford Bridge, all of this area here is within the zone, right, that you need a permission to demonstrate on. So you go past Jubilee Gardens, you go past the London Eye, the Ferris wheel, you go past London Aquarium, you nip down past Westminster Bridge, past the Florence Nightingale Museum, past St Thomas's Hospital, all the way down to Lambeth Palace, because this bit is in fact included as well. Over Lambeth Bridge, that building sticking out, that's MI5. Don't tell anyone. That's MI5, right? That's in the zone. You nip up Horseferry Road. You go past the Magistrates Court, past Channel 4. Nip up the Broadway. You go past the New Scotland Yard, and you go past St James's Tube. You go up Horse Guards Road, hit the Mall, turn right all the way to Admiralty Arch, then you hit Northumberland Avenue that nips down and connects with Hungerford Bridge. Quite a large area to be caught unaware with a cake or a badge. So I start to go and ask for more demonstrations. Right. You want a demonstration on Hungerford Bridge? Yeah, I do. It's within the designated area. It is indeed. What I want to know is what you want to demonstrate about. I want to abolish footbridges. What? I want to abolish... What do you want to do that for? I want to encourage swimming. And what are you going to do by way of your demonstration on Hungerford Bridge? I will stand in the middle of the bridge and I will hand out one leaflet calling for the abolition of footbridges. One leaflet? Do you realise I'm going to be generating 10 times the amount of paperwork than you're going to be handing out? Were you aware of that? Yeah. So I had my demonstration on Hungerford Bridge. And it was great, because I was working. I actually did the demonstration at 12 midnight. So I just walked onto the bridge, 12 midnight, and this sort of pissed, sort of city bloke was wandering across the bridge. I just went, there, and went, oh, he's got this note going, abolish footbridge, fucking hell. So then, me and my mate Tracy, next week we go down. Tracy's an artist, okay, and she owns the Foundry, which is an art gallery bar in near Old Street in London. We go down to see PC Paul McAnally. Right, you two. Enter the interview room now. Right, let's take yours, please, miss. You want to revive the Twinkie perm? That's fine. Let's have yours, please, Mr. Oh, Jesus Christ. You want a demonstration demanding the immediate sacking of Superintendent Terry? Yeah, I do. You want to sack my direct superior? Yeah, that's correct. I've got to go and ask him if he'll give you permission to call for him to be sacked. Yeah, that's correct. Why do you want to sack him? Because of his implementation of the law. It's very draconian. No, any other police officer would implement the law in exactly the same fashion. No, other police officers would be more liberal. Who would you have him replaced with then? You. Oh, Jesus. He walks out, leaving me and Tracy sitting in the room for about 10 minutes. One potato, two potato, three potato. Do this one, it makes me laugh. Suddenly, the door flies open. In walks Superintendent Terry, a man bigger than I had imagined. He is clutching my form and walking with some determination in his step. He walks straight up to me and says, how can I turn this down, Mark? This is genius. Well done. And I just thought, we can play with this. I should explain, at the risk of being obvious, different police stations have different ethoses. PC Paul McAnally, quite an interesting bloke. His dad, in fact, was a shop steward in Dundee during the Timex dispute. It was a very bitter strike. Charing Cross, fairly workaday Nick. Other police stations, Belgravia Police Station, cut above. You know, Mayfair, Royal Parks, chap in charge of giving permission there, Sergeant Nick Woodward. Got a moustache, type of tash that you see and you just want to go stripy shirt, enamel cufflinks. Those are nice cufflinks. Yes, Coldstream Guards. Coldstream Guards, regimental Coldstream Guards. You were in the Guard? No, I wasn't, no. He says, right, you better come on. He's one of these guys, come on in, Mr. Thomas. Let's sort you out. Takes me into the interview room. I sit down and he leans on the table. Right. This is how it works. You play fair with me, and I'll play fair with you. No. I have a copy of the relevant legislation, and I think you'll find this is how it works. It's called the law. Huh? If you want to be awkward. I actually wrote an article about all this law in The Guardian, and in it I described Sergeant Nick Woodward as behaving like Terry Thomas, were Terry Thomas ever to join the Nazis. And his superintendent went nuts and wrote this letter to The Guardian. How dare you undermine my officers by comparing them to Terry Thomas? Then the Nazi thing's bad, obviously, yes. And I just thought, God, the police are writing letters of complaint about me to The Guardian. I don't know. I felt backed into a corner. I reacted the only way I knew how. I went straight to Charing Cross Police Station. Right, Mark. You want a demonstration demanding that Nick Woodward stop whinging like a girl? You know I'm going to fax this to him, don't you? So, what it is you might be aware that after the Twin Towers went down, there's been a whole raft of legislation that has come in. And part of that legislation has been anti-terror legislation. And one of the, like now it's a criminal offence to do anything that would glorify terrorism, which is just, where does bonfire night stand? So anyway. But now the criminal definition, the actual legal definition of a terrorist is quite wide-ranging. According to British law, this is a terrorist. A terrorist is someone who commits an act of violence or threatens an act of violence, who commits damage to property or threatens to damage property, and is done for the reasons of political, religious, or ideological purposes, which is quite a broad range of action. Now, Greenpeace getting in front of a whaling ship is the threat of damage to property for ideological purposes. Greenpeace would be terrorists. GM crop protesters, boo, bad corn, that is damage to property. They are terrorists. Ramblers on a trespass are now on a legal footing with Al-Qaeda. And if we can't trust people who eat Kendall mint cake, where the fuck are we as a country? In fact, if you've got faith, you'll know in the New Testament it says Jesus chucked the moneylenders out of the temple, right? Jesus pushed over the tables and said, get out of it. Well, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, get out of it. Originally, in the original manuscript, it says toilet, but they cut that out. So Jesus goes, get out of it, chucks the temple, and he probably did it for religious reasons, being your Jesus. So Jesus, technically, under British legislation, would be regarded as a terrorist. Now, you know that bit about glorifying terrorism and how you shouldn't do it? Next time you see someone with a car with a little fish on the back of it, hello, police, you can dob them in. So I wanted to try and find out where those Rizzler paper lines were, where you could put a Rizzler paper between the definition of a terrorist and a freedom fighter. Nelson Mandela used the armed struggle. Undoubtedly a terrorist, undoubtedly a freedom fighter. Who makes the decisions? So I went to see Sergeant Nick Woodward, give him the form. Right, let's have a look. Bloody hell. You want a demonstration to support the IRA? I said, no, but specifically the IRA's actions in Easter, the turn of the century in Dublin, when they took over the post office. An action described by many as an act of poetry that inspired a liberation movement that saw the expulsion of a foreign colonial power, in this case Britain, and the flourishing of Irish democracy, an event which is commemorated as a national holiday in Ireland each year. All the same, bit bloody controversial. I'll put it in for you. We get permission. So I'm on the phone to my mates going, fuck, we've got permission to do a demonstration in support of the IRA. Fuck. What are we going to do? Don't wear balaclavas, whatever you fucking do. So we're out in Parliament Square. At lunchtime, there's about 30 of us, Irish flag, and the Declaration of Irish Independence, which is quite an interesting and rational document. This cop comes over to us, and he is fizzing like an Alka-Seltzer in a glass. He comes storming over and just goes, right, you lot, this is an illegal demonstration. You either move forward, I'm arresting you. No, it's not. We've got permission. No, you haven't. No, we have got permission. No, you haven't, because I was there at morning briefing, and as far as I'm concerned, it wasn't mentioned, therefore it's an illegal demonstration. No, we have got permission. Well, if you've got permission, let's see the paperwork. No, we haven't got it with us. Why haven't you got it? Well, legally, I'm not required to carry it. I know that. No, you didn't. Yes, I do know that, actually. You need to check with Charing Cross. I know who to check with. No, you didn't, because you didn't know about the bit of paper. No, I did. It's PC Paul McAnally. I know. And then he says, stay there. I'll just say we'll check. We've got a demonstration of concert. There then follows 10 minutes rather tense standoff, where he gives it a lot of neck and shoulder work. I think I'm not responding to that kind of macho posturing, but I do meet him with a bit of eyebrow. After 10 minutes, we get, is that the IRA one? Are you the IRA one? I am the IRA one. They are the IRA one. The IRA illegal, they got permission. And you just think, what kind of nuts world are we living in? And then we had a thought. We thought, if one person with one banner has to get permission from the police, requiring quite a lot of paperwork, to stand in Parliament Square, what happens if a lot of one people decide that they want to demonstrate with one banner on individual issues at the same time? And more than that, what happens if they want to put in their applications to demonstrate at the same time? What happens if we had a mass loan demonstration, as it were? Would the police be able to withstand this onslaught? Would they have got the bureaucratic procedures in place to take on board this attack of, well, frankly, Daily Mail reader-type proportions? No. August last year, 150 of us descend upon Charing Cross Police Station. We take over the whole building. No one else can get in. It's about 6 o'clock in the evening. It's packed. The antechamber is chocker with us. The cops are in total disarray. What are you all doing? We want to apply to demonstrate. Well, if you want to apply to demonstrate, is it individually? Yeah. Well, why are you all together? We get lonely. It's just, they are in total meltdown. PC Paul McAnally is on holiday. They do not know if they're coming or going. They've set aside a room for us, right? And it's got 4 officers working it. There's a photocopier in the room. They're supposed to photocopy our form, sign it, and give us a copy back. Halfway through, the photocopier breaks down or falls down the stairs on the way to the station. My name's Ben Elton. Thank you very much. Good night. My friend Sean comes into the police station with her application iced upon a large Victoria sponge. She walks in, you have to use 2 hands to hold it. It's got a white butter base and a blue ink writing. She walks in, the cops go, no, yeah, no. Doesn't say anywhere in the law, I've got to write it on paper. Legal huddle, everyone, quick. What are we going to do? I don't know, drop it on the floor. That's criminal damage, that's very naughty. I know what, let's put it face down on the photocopier to print. No, it's broken and you know that. Excuse me, miss, yeah? Have you got a spare icing piper with you? No, I haven't. She hasn't got a spare icing piper. You know what that means, boys? No, it means there's nothing for us to sign the document with. I'm afraid it's invalid. So they eat the cake. Then a woman comes in and she gives a youngish officer a bit of paper. The cop picks it up. Right, what's going on here? I can't make head nor tail of this. I can't read the writing. What's going on? It's illegible. What's happening here? I am a spirit medium, and I have channeled the ghost of Sir Winston Churchill, the former Prime Minister, who wishes to demonstrate against this draconian imposition on our rights of spontaneous freedom of speech. Right. Problem is, I can't read the handwriting. You see, this is, if I'm interpreting this correct, this is Sir Winston's handwriting. Through me in ectoplasmic form, yes. OK, this is a proposed way forward. I'll go and get a new form. You summon up Sir Winston. You get Sir Winston to talk me through what he wants. I'll write it down in a legible hand. I'll then process the form to see if we can facilitate your legal right to demonstrate. How does that sound? Fine. Winston! They're having a séance in a central London police station. to give a ghost permission to demonstrate. And he fucking gets it. Come the day of the demonstration, there are about 150 of us out on Parliament Square. And there's all sorts of friends and legal observers and, you know, photographers and press people. And there's all sorts of demos. Some very serious, stop the Iraq War. Some less serious, free tampons on the NHS. Some less serious than that, ban everything. There was, in fact, a counter-demonstration with legalise everything as well. And for me, the whole thing summed up when I looked up and I see a woman standing with a banner that just says, "Free Palestine," next to a bloke with "Free chocolate for the unemployed." And it just seemed to be right. We had all sorts of folk there. We had one woman who looked like, she looked like a teacher. She looked like she'd had a bad day at school, actually. And she was standing very disgruntled with her banner, handmade, just holding it like that. And it read, "Stop putting bits in cheese." I went up to her and just said, "Chives?" She said, "That's just the start of it." Next to her was someone who I think was her colleague, because she had a handmade banner and looked equally disgruntled. And her one said, "Make children play in the rain." Oh, we had ban onanism, save Thatcherism. Every time you masturbate, God kills a Tory. I just thought it was great. We had one chap who was sort of like, had a nice blazer on with those flat silver buttons, and he came over and said, "Hello, Mark." I said, "Oh, hi." He said, "Bloody good idea. I read about it in the newspaper. Very good." I said, "What's on your banner?" He said, "I haven't got anything on my banner." I said, "Why not?" He said, "Well, I decided actually the principle of the thing is I should be able to put whatever I want on my banner. And if I put something on my banner, I'm actually undermining my principle to put whatever I want. Should I choose to put something in the future? So I thought I'd leave it blank and opt for the principle rather than actually the specific. Have I got it right?" Yeah. We had, my favourite was one chap who was about 16 or 17, and he had one of those floppy sort of Hitler haircuts that hang over the face. And he got so sweet. He'd got black nail varnish on, and he'd got a brand new leather jacket, like fresh off the cow. And he was wearing, he's got one of those metal fingers that the youth wear. Do you know what I... Some of it was metal fingers for the youth. Yes, yeah. Yes, they chop them off and exchange them for crack cocaine. Do they? Yes. Yes, many children have no fingers at all, just pins, little pins. Very handy for stationery, but otherwise useless. No, it's like a little gauntlet. It's like a piece of armour for the finger. And the youth wear. It looks like a finger bob puppet for Satanists. That's what it looks like. Are you having a nice time? I've been killing children. Ooh, okay. So he had one of those on, and I went over to him and said, "Hi, how you doing?" "I'm all right, thanks very much." I said, Are you demonstrating?" Yeah, I am." I said, "Oh, great. Are you by yourself?" "Yeah, at the moment I am, yeah." Have you got people coming?" Yeah, well, yeah, but they're not, because, like, the train is not, and, you know, but there might be, but I don't think they will. So, yeah, I'm sort of by myself, yeah." "Well, do you want to come and join us? You're very welcome to come and join us and join our crowd and demonstrate." "No, I'm all right, thanks, I'm just fine." "Okay, what are you demonstrating about?" "I am goth pride." Heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Just that lovely sort of fragility. Oh, I wanted to take him home, but there's laws. Anyway, the thing is... we're doing the demonstration, and I'd agreed to do this interview with London Live. You know the bit at the end of the proper news? You know the bit... So it finishes when it sort of goes, "This is the end of the BBC proper news. And now some irrelevant things. But they're local to you." And the weather's at the end as well, so keep watching. And now I pass you over to someone with a degree in media studies. Nick. You know, and it goes out, you know, and then that person's there. Anyway, the thing is, I'd agreed to do this interview with Light and Shite, as we call it, and I was up against this Tory bloke from the Greater London Assembly. And he's like one of these modern Tories. So he's like a moisturiser away from a monocle and a shotgun. And he's sort of standing there, he's got his sort of, you know, little shirt button undone, appealing to the youth. You know? And... I said, oh, hi. Hello. He's looking at his watch. I said, are you going on? He said, yes, I wish I'd hurry up. I said, where are you going to? He said, I'm going to the Methodist Chapel. There's a concert. I said, oh, do you have faith in our Lord Jesus Christ, Redeemer? I said, do you have faith in our Lord Jesus Christ, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Saviour, Redeemer, Saviour of our soul through the shedding of his precious love, that he might give us the gift of everlasting life? No. Don't worry, even the most hardened sinner will find there's a time when Jesus Christ knocks on the doors of their heart and they are ready to let him in as their Lord and Saviour. Quite. I don't believe a word of this, but it really spooks people out. And if you're about to do a live debate with someone on telly, it's quite nice to whip the rug out before you get going. I know it's naughty, but I'm an atheist. What can I say? If God was going to exist, he would do, and he doesn't. I know, people write books about it. So, we're about to do this live debate, and I thought, what excuses are you going to come up to justify the law? Sometimes the government play the anti-terror card, and obviously there's a terrorist threat, but exactly how would making someone get permission to demonstrate from the police stop the terrorist threat? They're terrorists. They tend to go through moral and legal parameters. They are transgressors by their very nature. I think some of them might demonstrate without permission. They're terrorists. Have you prepared? Yes, and I have learned to fly the plane, and I have made the bomb myself. Have you got the paperwork done with the police? You know what I'm like with forms. But I thought, as mad as this is, you know, what excuse is this guy going to come up with to defend the law? And I thought, beware, Mark, because politicians, you know, we don't trust them and we don't like them. They're venal and awful sometimes, but they can muster an argument. That's what they do for a living. So be on your toes, be on your guard, be ready, man. It's mental jiu-jitsu, it's a fight here. It's fat dad fighting stance, be there. Let the question come to you. Do not answer immediately. Absorb the question, let you find your answer within your stomach and breathe it out on the Zen breath of life. So I'm there, I've got to be in the zone, be in the zone. And they go, right, 5, 4, 3, ready, Mark? Yeah, be in the zone, Mark, be in the zone, be ready for the question. Here we go. Mark, why are you demonstrating freedom of speech? Very important principle. Blah, blah, blah. Protection. Now we turn to him and we go to this guy and I'm like, be in the zone, Mark, be ready, be sharp, be ready. Just anything that comes, just be ready for it. And they said, why are you opposed to Mr. Thomas demonstrating? And he said, well, it doesn't look very good for tourists, does it? I nearly punched him. I said, you're opposed to what we're doing because of tourism? He said, yes. I said, look, you go around the back of the White House, there's loads of demonstrators. People haven't been put off by going to America. He said, no, I think it looks awful for tourists. I said, OK, let me get this straight. You are opposed to what we're doing? He said, yes. So I said, in a way, you're politically opposed to it. He said, yes, I am. I said, so in essence, your presence here is a political demonstration. He said, well, I suppose it is. I said, yet you have no permission. So we decide to have mass loan demos every month. We're going to have them on the third Wednesday of every month. And for the second mass loan demo, we think what we'll do is we'll demonstrate on one subject from 5 till 6. And when Big Ben strikes its mighty noble chimes, we will cast off our banners, shed it like slothed snakeskin, and we will pick up a new banner with a new slogan, a new ideology upon it. And we will demonstrate on that from 6 through to 7, thereby requiring 2 permissions. Go down to Charing Cross Police Station. PC Paul McAnally is back from holiday. Right, Mark, nice try, but it's not going to fly. You see, we regard this as a static demonstration, so regardless of the fact that you've got multiple causes, issues, or campaigns, you remain in one place. Therefore, you only require 1 permission. Nice try, but it's not going to work. If it was that you're moving around the designated area from place to place... 10 days later, I arrive at Charing Cross Police Station. Can I speak to PC Paul McAnally, please? He's here. Mark, how can I help you? I have got 21 applications to demonstrate. 21? You said if I moved around the designated area from place to place, I'd need different permissions. So, 10 minutes demonstrations outside one place, then giving myself 10 minutes travelling time, I arrive at the next destination, where we have a new demonstration, new idea, new slogan, new banner, and a new geographical location, thereby requiring 21 permissions. You better come into the interview room. He starts going through the paperwork. Right, let's have a look. All right, this is Charing Cross, this is us, that's fine. And this one is, this is Belgravia's patch, so our old friend Nick Woodward. This one's Lambeth, so now I've got to talk to Lambeth Police Station. And this one's, this is Royal Park, so now I've got to negotiate with them. And this, I quite like this one. Outside the London Aquarium. Stop the killer rays for Steve Irwin's sake. I quite like that, that's very good. What have we got? See, you're back on Hungerford Bridge again, Mark. Yeah, what do you want this time? A troll, of course you do. Gordon Brown, burn everything before the Tories get back in, that's fine. We could be in trouble on this one. I said, what is it? He said, it's outside Channel 4. I said, that is my Big Brother is shit demonstration. He said, aye. I said, factually, I'm not in error. He said, factually, you're on the money. He said, the issue is language. Somebody might see the word shit and take offence to it and report it to a police officer who would have to arrest you for profanity. I said, I'm standing outside the Channel 4 building, holding a banner facing the Channel 4 building that says Big Brother is shit. Anyone working for Channel 4 inside the Channel 4 building looks out of the Channel 4 building and sees Big Brother is shit, and they take offence at the word shit. They shouldn't be working for Channel 4. He said, I agree, Mark, but what about the 3 nuns you happen to be walking past? What about the coachload of school children who are on a trip, who catch sight of your banner? I said, we're talking about innocents caught within a profanity crossfire. He said, we are indeed. I said, can I change the wording to a less offensive word? He said, the trouble with profanity, Mark, quote, you see, profanity is subjective. One man's shit is another man's crap is another man's poo. Was that Sartre or Yoza? I said, look, whatever it is, we're in trouble on the next demo. He said, why's that? I said, look, he goes, I don't see anything wrong outside the Department of Health. I said, no, we are, because he hadn't read it properly. He goes, oh. We demand that Patricia Hewitt stop speaking like a patronising cunt. I said, would it help if I called her a bastard? He said, I don't think so. He said, but frankly, that's for you to work out. I've got a lot of work to do in a short time to do it in. I've actually got to go and negotiate and talk to 4 different police areas. I've got to talk to Charing Cross, and I've got to talk to Belgravia, and I've got to talk to the parks, and I've got to talk to Lambeth. I've got to make sure that their on-duty police officers are all informed of your activities, so no one actually stops you while you're demonstrating and does an unlawful arrest. I've then got to go and talk to the parks police and find out if they want to give you permission to demonstrate. And if they don't want to give you permission to demonstrate, which they could do under the bylaws, is that actually incompatibility with the Human Rights Act? Because if they don't want you to demonstrate under bylaws, would it actually deny your right to demonstrate under human rights? You could therefore put forward a case within the European Court. I've then got to actually go and negotiate with the private property owners on whose land you wish to demonstrate on. I've got to find out if they want to give you permission. And if they don't want to give you permission, which is a civic action because it's trespass, have I got the right as a state to deny you permission? And would that, in fact, be denying you a right to protest in breach of the Human Rights Act, regardless of the fact that they don't want you to demonstrate in the first place? I've got a lot of work to do in a short time to do it in. I said, you understand I'm sympathetic to your plight. My first demonstration, Parliament Square, reduced police paperwork. We get permission to do the demonstrations. I also get permission for my friend Sam to come with us. Sam is going to be the banner caddy. Because we got so many banners and placards, what we thought we'd do is we'd get Sam to get a golf bag, shove all the banners in the back, and he'll just follow behind. Ah, sir, Downing Street. You'll need a fuck Blair banner. Thank you, Samuel. May I say, well waved, sir. Thank you, Sam. Come, Patricia awaits us. So, the trouble is, I, without any inverse affectation, I just don't know anyone who plays golf. So, I waited until my wife had taken the children out to school, and I emptied our wheelie bin in the front garden. And I know, chocolate's flowers, it's fine. And sprayed it with Dettol, then put the stencils around the bin and sprayed it with bright green paint, so it says Banner Caddy, then stuck all the paperwork from the police on the inside of the lid of the bin, right? So if the police stopped us at any point, Sam can just go, guys, into the bin of permission. So we stuff all the banners in there and we set off. Sam's in a white coat with banner caddy and the big bin. My friend Tony is going to be the timer. So he's got a big clock, clipboard, white coat with timer. Me, best suit, high-vis jacket, protester. We arrive at Parliament Square to start our demonstrations. And I had just forgotten that the day that we had booked our 21 demonstrations was the same day that the anarchists had called for a demonstration to sack Parliament. And they hadn't got permission. That's the anarchists for you. If ever there's a hard way. We arrive and there's about 80 anarchists in Parliament Square. 10 o'clock in the morning, that's a fucking miracle. 80 anarchists, and collectively they appear to be going, right, yeah. Now, in response to the 80 anarchists, the police have drafted, in complete proportionate response, 800 police officers into the square. It is like a Dr. Seuss poem of cops. There are cops on bikes, cops on trikes, cops with Nikes and fikes and kites. They are everywhere, and people are being shoved and they're served, there's your rights, leave it, pull the banner down. Oh, right, man. And in the middle of it, we're standing there with reduced police paperwork. We finish that and we go straight to our second demonstration at Portcullis House, the office from which the MPs work, opposite Parliament, opposite the Thames. We arrive and there's 6 officers standing outside the front. We arrive, literally, if the front row is where the officers are, we arrive this far apart. Sam and the bin. Big bloke. Me, losing a bit. Tony, huge clock. Sam goes, banner! I go, thanks. Tony goes, don't lift it up, we're 2 minutes too early. You lift it up, we're breaking the law. Keep it face down. This far from the police, I keep the banner face down. Sam goes, stay in the zone, don't lose your concentration. Tony goes, 30 seconds. I go, The cops go, something's going to happen. Because some of them are detectives. Sam goes, stay in it. Tony goes, 5, 4. It's kicking off, little arms. Now, boom, we lift the banner up. We demand that all MPs do only one job, the one they're supposed to do, which is look after our interests. They can't do that one properly. Why should they take other jobs? They get jobs writing for magazines, on telly, on radio. We demand they resign them. We demand that all MPs resign their executive and non-executive directorships here, now, today, and that they give all their executive and non-executive directorships all the money they would get for that to this cop here who looks like he could do with it. The cop goes, We leave that, we go straight onto Hungerford Bridge. Trolls, we want trolls. All these goats come over here, nicking our houses, nicking our women. A lot of them are Polish goats too. Finish that. Straight onto the South Bank where we're having a demonstration to ban static mimes. Painting yourself silver and standing still is not a job. And if it is, stand still. So, finish that demonstration, straight over to the MI5 building. Put a big sign outside saying, we demand that MI5 put a sign outside the building reading MI5. Because they haven't got one. And I don't think they're getting all their post. We got a war on terror. Now's not the time to drop the ball on communication. Finish that, straight over to the magistrates' court. Clown wigs for judges. I wasn't happy with that, so I came back a week later and did abolish trial by jury, reintroduce trial by water if they float they're guilty. Finished that one, straight up to Channel 4. Big Brother is shit. And then we had a little banner that says, not very good. Sam and Tony are either side of me. If they see anyone they think will take offence, they shout, none! And I go, cover it up. Finish the demo, put the banners in the bin, and we're just walking off when this woman from Channel 4 comes tottering down the long, low steps of the Channel 4 building, chasing us. What are you doing having to go at Big Brother? A lot of people work very hard on Big Brother. I said, a lot of people worked hard to invade Poland, love. Don't make it right. Finish that one, go straight over to Westminster Abbey. God's dead, shut the Abbey. Finish that one. Straight over to New Scotland Yard, where we arrive there. Sam stands up the bin and goes, before we get going, just want to say to the police, don't shoot. We'd appreciate that. Gets a banner out. What do we want? We want Commissioner Blair to resign. Commissioner Blair resign. Commissioner Blair resign. Who do we want as Commissioner? PC Paul McAnally! finished that one. So we then end up outside the Department of Health on Whitehall. Got a little banner. We demand Patricia Hewitt stop speaking like a patronising TW*T. Holding it out like that. There's a chap on the bus stop by Whitehall. Lovely sunny day, and he is pure Graham Greene. Tweeds, bifocals, rummy eye, slight limp, possible shrapnel. He comes over and fixes me with his gaze, as if to say, I've met your sort before. I fought in a prep school, you know. And he said to me, what are you doing? I said, I'm demonstrating. He said, what about? I thought, don't get embroiled in the conversation, just hold the banner out. So I held the banner out and he went, oh, I quite agree, she's dreadful, carry on, well done. Then we go back into Parliament Square to finish off on our last demo. Be aware that this is true. We go back into Parliament Square. There are still 80 anarchists in the square. Not because none of them have been arrested, no. Plenty of anarchists have been arrested. It's just anarchists are notoriously bad timekeepers. So there's been a steady flow into the square to top up those being taken away, leaving a constant of about 80. The atmosphere has got much worse, though. It's really nasty. There are cops on horseback, all in riot gear. They're ready to kick off. A photographer, a journalist called Mark Valley, has been hospitalised. He's currently suing the cops. It's got really nasty. There's punches, there's nicks, there's been stuff pulled down. It's all kicking off. There's flashing lights, there's sirens, there's badges, there's wailing. And we walk into the middle of it, and the cop goes, stop right there. Sam goes, gaze into the bin of permission. The cop goes, I know about you. Mr. Thomas, I said, yeah. He goes, right, you can see we've got an ongoing situation. Your presence there could incite it, or you could get dragged into the melee. So what I'm saying to you, if I was in your shoes, I'd go away and come back and demonstrate on another occasion. I said, I have permission to demonstrate from the police. Gaze into the bin. And now the police are telling me I cannot demonstrate. Which police do I believe? He said, I'm not telling you you can't demonstrate. All I'm saying is, if I were in your shoes, I'd go away and come back on another occasion and demonstrate. I said, fine. If you were in my shoes, what would you as me say to you as you in response to what you had just said to you as me? I would ask if I could speak to the senior police officer in charge of operations on the day to see if I could negotiate my legal right to protest. So would you? He comes back with the biggest cop I've ever fucking seen in my life. He's huge. He's like a GM cop. He's fucking enormous. It's like he became chief cop by fighting all the other cops. He's like outside a caravan, couple of sobs, big fucking, come on, I'm king of the cops. And he's very friendly, though, I should put. He's really friendly in the way that people in power are friendly. Hello, how are you? Could have you killed. Hello. 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 This one, just kidding, get him a glass of wine, wipe his bum. You're welcome. Now, he said, Mr. Thomas. I said, yeah. He said, do you know what your problem is? And immediately I just go, no. Because I've heard the words, your problem is. No, tell me my problem. Your problem is you can see we've got an ongoing situation. You could be dragged into the melee. But your real problem, do you know what it is? No. Your real problem is we've had to draft 80 to 90% of the police officers working in Parliament Square today in from forces outside of London. Your problem is 80 to 90% of the cops working that square don't know the law. Your problem is the cops. You're going to go in the square, go, I'm here to demonstrate. They go, you're nicked. You go, no, I got permission. They go, I don't know nothing about no permission. Chuck you in the van, you end up in the cell. I get hit with an unlawful arrest. You spend the day in the cells. You don't want it, I don't want it. How do we solve the problem, Mr. Thomas? Well, I think I've thought it through. These two officers here, I'm assigning to escort you and your colleagues into the square, enabling you to demonstrate without being nicked by the cops. So, me, Sam, Tony, the bin, and our new best friends, Dick and Andy, wander into Parliament Square, and there is shoving and pushing and leave it. Oi, pull it down, shut up, wee wee. And in the middle of it, there's Andy going, perhaps over here would be a good place to... And at one point, a cop comes charging at me going, oi, and Andy goes, leave it, he's legal, he's with us. I just felt like the Noel Coward of protesters. I should have been there in a smoking jacket. Not got your own escort, how very goes. So, the day after, I wrote a piece for The Guardian, 4 pages in G2, right? All about our experiences. Within 24 hours, I'd had a phone call from someone. And some of you are thinking, who was it who called, Mark? Was it PC Paul McAnally? Indeed, he did call. We did a little phone catch-up. I said, you called? He said, hey, I did, Mark. I was just wondering how it went. I said, it was fine. It was fine. You didn't have any problem? No, it's great. Thank you for asking. How's your day? Oh, it's very good. I've had a number of calls from colleagues this morning asking to speak to the future commissioner. It wasn't PC Paul McAnally. Some of you are thinking, who was it, Mark? Was it Patricia Hewitt? Oh, if only it was. You dirty cocky cock fucking cocker cocker. Because she's got a foul mouth. She really... I used to go out with her. It was a mistake. It shouldn't have happened. Some of you are thinking, was it the trolls? Oh, if only it was. It was, in fact. Do you know who it was? Within 24 hours of writing the article, of doing the 21 demonstrations, who called? Only the Guinness Book of Records. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You are looking at the world record holder for political demonstrations. Look at that. And when they phoned up, I haven't put it up on my wall yet. I can't quite bring myself to do that. When they phoned up, they said, we want to make you world record holder. And I said, oh, well, my first thought was if only Roy Castle were with us, because that'd be brilliant. Do you know what I mean? Because he'd give us a certificate, and then he'd go, you're a record breaker. And it would be, you know, lovely. Not to be. The thing is, they said, we want to make you record holder. I said, great. What is the catch? Because there normally is on one of these. I said, what is the catch? They said, there isn't any catch. All we want is your methodology. I said, what do you mean? They said, we want to know how you did the demos. I said, well, it's different demonstration outside different places. And you can't demonstrate outside the same place twice. They said, you did Parliament Square twice. That's only one then. I said, yeah, fine. I said, and it's 10 minutes demonstrating outside each place. They said, fine. And I said, and you have to do it within the law. They said, well, that is your methodology. I said, why do you want it? They said, well, once we make you world record holder, other people will want to beat your record. Take my noble crown. They said, we will actively encourage it. And I thought, when the Guinness World Record had taken on New Labour over freedom of speech, things are looking bizarrely optimistic. Now, what then happened was I broadcast some of these stories on Radio 4, and I'd always said to Paul McAnally, come and see the show, because I don't think you come out too badly in it. And he's always gone, no, 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 no. Radio 4 broadcast the stories, and I phone up the next day. Ah, Mr. Thomas. Oh, hi there, how are you? I'm very good. Heard your show last night. Oh, great. Very good. I liked it. My wife liked it very much. My 14-year-old son loved it. Strange that a 14-year-old should adore the fact that his father is ridiculed across the entire nation. I said, did you like it? He said, I did. It was very good. I said, did you listen to it with your family? He said, no, I didn't. I said, where did you listen to it? He said, I listened to it at Charing Cross Police Station. I had to check for inaccuracies. I had to check to see if there was anything we needed to rebut. I said, there wasn't. He said, no, your statements were fairly accurate. In fact, they were very accurate. There's a wee bit of dramatic license in the telling of them, but they were accurate. I said, there's nothing for you to rebut. No, there wasn't. He said, I had to sit and listen with Superintendent Terry. I had to sit there with my direct superior saying, oh, one man's shit is another man's crap is another man's poo. No, I did say that. That is accurate. I said, I'm really sorry about that. He said, don't worry. He said, when are you coming in? I said, I'm coming in this afternoon with a few forms. He said, give us a call. I'll come down. I get to Charing Cross. I give him a call. He comes down. I see him walking towards the front of the station, holding a football. And he's, Mark! Come on, it's Christmas Day. Come on, son. It's time for your game. I said, oh, that's brilliant. I'm so sorry to do this to you. What? Here is 1,200 applications. 1,200! Yeah. They are going to be furious in there. I'm sorry about that. They are going to be... When's it for? The 21st of April. I'm sorry. 21st of April. They will be furious. You know that it's not aimed at you personally and it's about... I know that. I don't care. I'm on holiday. But they will be furious. Over the next week, we put another 1,300 applications in, bringing it to a total of 2,500 applications to demonstrate. Now, since the law was introduced in August 2005, up until the last time they counted, which was December 2006, the police have said they've received, in total, 1,300 applications. We hit them with 2,500, and that is basically 3 years' work in a week. They are less than happy. And what happened was I fucked up. What I was doing, because there's about 300 people doing the demos, some doing 20, some doing 10, some 5, I put a list of all the places they might like to demonstrate within the area. So like I said, well, there's a Tesco's there, and there's a McDonald's there, and, you know, there's the MOD, and there's Downing Street, and there's this and that. And people just copied down, went, oh, we're going to do that, and do Downing Street, and do this. And what happens is, if you put Downing Street, normally you should put Downing Street in Whitehall, opposite the gates, within those metal barriers. I didn't put that, I just put Downing Street. So everyone else puts Downing Street. So 300 people apply for Downing Street. I get this phone call from the police. If you want to demonstrate in Downing Street, Mr. Thomas, you'll need 2 forms of ID, 1 photo ID, 1 utility bill, perhaps bank statement. You'll also need to be subjected to a security search. And I suddenly realised they were letting us in past the gates into Downing Street to demonstrate. So I went rushing back and looked at the law, and I thought, what the fuck's going on? And it says, anyone who applies to demonstrate within the designated area, quote, the police must give permission. And because they'd rushed it through without consulting Parliament properly, they just fucked up and forgot to exempt the most security-sensitive place in the entire fucking area, forcing them to give us permission to let us demonstrate outside number fucking 10. I'm delighted. I go round on the day, I'm first in the queue, I'm so excited. I've got my passport. You're known to us, Mr. Thomas, come through, come through. I go in there, I've made a blue plaque on a stick. And it's got, Tony Blair lived here, 1997 to 2007, Prime Minister and war criminal, lest we forget. My mate Tony had got a big banner with, I voted Labour, shame on me. My mate Jeff's got, help, my Prime Minister's been kidnapped by a cult. And my mate Jim's got, my Prime Minister is a cult. We just had this lovely day. And because there's 2,500 demonstrations popping up all over the designated area, it's like 2,500 gags that are there for you to find at random. It's like this weird situationalist art project. At one point, we walked past the Churchill War Cabinet rooms around the back of the Foreign Office, and there's a bloke standing in a shirt. And this lovely sunny afternoon, he's got a shirt, he's got his banner that just says, Churchill approved of the gassing of the Kurds in the 1920s. This was a war crime. And next to him is this bloke with this enormous fuck-off George Bernard Shaw beard, right? One of those huge beards that says, my bicycle has one wheel considerably larger than the other. And he was standing with a placard with, Churchill wasn't as nice as you might think, you know. My favourite, though, was round the back of Westminster Abbey. My mate Jeff standing there, leather jacket, banner, free condoms for gay pensioners. What are you doing it here for? And then you suddenly see he's in Old Queen Street. Hats off, fellas. Now, at this point, some of you are going, why have you been doing this, Mark? Well, everyone needs a hobby. I suppose the other reason is because since the Twin Towers went down, there's been a whole raft of legislation that's been thrown up that puts the onus on us to account for ourselves and our actions to the state. And in a democracy, it works the other way round. We are the power. We give it to politicians. They have to account for their actions to us. That's how it works. And all this legislation, if you look, you've got the Sokpa law, you've got the terrorist law where you can be nicked for possession of a map, you can be nicked for wearing a T-shirt with Abdullah Öcalan's picture on it. So all these laws come in, and this is just my way of going, no, we need to stop this and we need to reverse it. The politicians have to account for their actions to us. And I think where we are winning, I get emails from cops, completely, this is private and confidential, but I agree with you. The law's stupid, it makes us look silly. I got a Christmas card from Charing Cross Police Station. This is it. I opened up the card, the Christmas card, and in it it's got, "Dear Mark, happy Christmas from all the lads at Charing Cross Operation Room, kiss, kiss." What? If they'd sent me 2,500, that would have been genius. But one's good enough. You know, and we're winning because the Greater London Assembly say they want to abolish it. Baroness Sue Miller in the House of Lords is putting forward a private member's bill, and finally Gordon Brown has said he wants to repeal the law. We don't know how far he's going to go, but he says he wants to repeal it, so we've won. It's a victory. We don't know exactly what kind of victory, but it is a victory. And it's a victory, it's a kind of peculiar British victory, because it's a victory for people who read the names of Iraqi war dead at the cenotaph. It's a victory for people who pitched tents illegally in Parliament Square. It's a victory for Brian Hall. And it's a victory for all the people who stood in Parliament once a month with a little banner saying, "We demand bigger shoe sizes for women." And it's kind of, I think we should put bunting up to celebrate. And just to send the law on its way, what we've done is just to send it off. My friend Tracy, Twinkie Perm, my friend Tony, I voted Labour, my friend Jeff, free condoms, and I have formed a company. And our company is called McDemos. We were going to go for Easy Demo, but when we looked at the company's house registrar, the name's gone already. Stelios, what a bastard. So we've called it McDemos. McDemos, we are a protest solution provider. In this busy 24/7 world, you often haven't got a chance to make your voice and protest heard. Let us demonstrate for you. Have you ever wanted to bring down capitalism but couldn't get the day off work? And what we're offering are two demonstrations to start off. We've got a happy demo and we've got a value demo. And what you do is, for a happy demo, you pay £5 and you give your name and address and what you want us to demonstrate about and the chants that you want us to shout. And what we will do is we found a little loophole whereby you can apply to actually have a demonstration, but you don't have to do it yourself. So the police are going to send all the paperwork out to you lot, so they still get this huge amount of paperwork. We will then go with our expert craftspeople who will have made a handmade banner with your slogan on it. We have got members of the Socialist Worker on standby, so you can literally rent a mob. And we will demonstrate and photograph the event, so you've got a commemorative memento of the day you took on the man. We've also got value demos at 99p. Name, address, what you want us to demonstrate, and what chants you want us to shout. And what we do is we cash them in. We go into Parliament Square, me and Tracy, with a blackboard, huge amount of paperwork still, go in with a blackboard, write the name of your demo out, shout the chant, rub it off, move on to the next one. Now, what happened was, we actually went there the other week. We put in nearly 200 applications to demonstrate for McDemos. On the Friday that they found the car bombs in central London. And so on Monday morning, I got a phone call from Paul McAnally going, "Mark, is there any chance we could just call a truce on this for a couple of weeks just till we get these people?" He said, "You know, just give us a 2 week." I said, "Yeah, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. It seems reasonable enough." He said, "Just give us 2 weeks, then it's game on, business as usual." I got an email from him the other day, completely true. He said, "Thanks a lot for that, I really appreciate it. Let's hope we can return to normal hostilities as soon as possible." I like him a lot, actually, he's a nice guy. So, only other thing to tell you before we break up for banner making workshops is actually, it's just weird getting on well with the cops. It's quite pleasant having this weird relationship. And what happened was, we were demonstrating at Down Street, and I'd gone in there once, and I went in for a second go because I was so excited. And while I was waiting for some mates to come out, I was talking to a cop there, a guy called Sergeant Alan Sweetman, and he goes, "Here, Mark, I've got a joke for you." He said, "You can use this one." He said, "It works for all ages." I said, "That's not a recommendation, is it?" He said, "Hear it out." He goes, "This is how it goes. Little balloon model girl wakes up in the middle of the night, she's having a nightmare. Little balloon model girl thinks, I'll go and have a little cuddle with balloon model mum, balloon model dad. Rushes down to balloon model mum, balloon model dad's bed, can't fit in. So she thinks, I know what I'll do. She unties balloon model dad's knot, releases some air, ties it up, tries to squeeze back in, can't quite get in. Thinks, I know what I'll do. Unties balloon model mum's knot, releases the air, ties it up, tries to squeeze in between them for that lovely little cuddle, but she can't get in. She thinks, I know what I'll do. She unties her own knot, releases the air, ties it back up, and squeezes in for a lovely little cuddle between balloon model mum and balloon model dad. Just then, balloon model dad sits bolt upright and goes, what's going on? She goes, I'm sorry, balloon model dad. I was having a nightmare and I thought I want to cuddle with balloon model mum, balloon model dad, but I couldn't fit in, so I untied your knot, released the air, tied it out, couldn't get in. Untied mum's knot, released it, let the air, couldn't fit in. Then I untied my own knot, released the air, tied it back up, and I just managed to snuggle in for a nice little cuddle, and I've just fallen off to sleep. When you sat up, he goes, do you know what you've done? You've let me down, you let your mother down, you let yourself down. He said you can use that if you like, but let me know how it goes. I've now got to go and tell him that the Tricycle Theatre gave him a fucking round of applause. Thanks for coming. No night. Thanks very much for coming along.